the FanFic Critic. I read it, you listen. Today's fanfic is interesting, to put it that way. It's a Star Wars and Halo crossover called Samuel Chase and the Dark Knights of the Apocalypse. Very long story. Has like about 18 chapters, but technically it's 17 because chapter 1 is chapter 0, the epilogue. Yeah, obviously it's going to be a little too long for me to read out loud. But I have read the entire story, and I do have some interesting things to say about it. But let's just read the first chapter, and then I will talk about the rest of the story and kind of summarize what exactly happens in the fanfic. And then I'll give you my final critique. Samuel Chase and the Dark Knights of the Apocalypse, Chapter 0, the story of Samuel Chase. The world is in ruins. There are no recognizable buildings as I look out from my window. There are no sounds except those of the faint radio waves from the last remains of the communication satellites. Those reports estimate the surviving number of humans at about 100 million. But I am alone in this city. The destruction that I am describing was not a natural occurrence. This was brought to us by one man and his diabolical plan to destroy the entire human race. The city I am hiding in is silent except for the occasional gas tank explosion or structural collapse. I am safe though. I am here on my own wishes. I am reflecting on what my world has become. I served my world. I came into direct contact with this diabolical monster. His name was Samuel Chase, and I wish to tell the story of him and his Dark Knights of the Apocalypse. It took a long time to form the words, but I finally have the right words to tell my story. The year was 2300 AD. The world is not only at war with itself, but with a few new species discovered. The universe. Shots are being fired and people are killed everywhere and every day. 200 years earlier, the world has divided itself into two empires, the Northern Order and the Southern Alliance. Each also had constant attempts of assassinations on their rulers from within their own empires. Eventually, after many years of fighting, they found that their common enemy was not on Earth, but it was in space. The two rulers decided to form a new world order, the United World Empire, in parentheses it says UWE. Their army was massive and justly titled the United World Armed Forces. Again, they have the abbreviation in parentheses. They had planes and bombers that could fly in space in planetary environments. Their vehicles were capable of crushing enemy soldiers and crushing opposition with ease. Their soldiers were trained heavily and showed no fear when enemy planets attacked. The UWE was ruled under a diarchy, or with two rulers, or diarchy, until one was assassinated by another human. The shot was found to have been shot from a military genius, one who could penetrate their security. Therefore, in response to this, the solo ruler enacted a new law in which individuals must have their intelligence levels measured. If they were too high, they were imprisoned for life, no questions asked. Samuel Chase was a different story, however. He was born during this time of war to Rebecca and Morgan Chase, who were concerned with his intelligence. At 2 weeks, he could walk easily, and at 6 months, he was playing video poker like a pro. Then the time came for him to be measured. His parents brought him to the government facility, and a young nurse brought them back to the machine. "All right," she said, picking up Samuel and placing him on the machine. "Let's get this over with." 2 Marine guards stood with guns at the ready. The machine started as normal, and she read off the numbers. 100, 200, 300, 350, 400, she said, shocked as the levels began rising exponentially. exponentially. She backed up just before the machine exploded, the baby in her arms. The Marines immediately seized the child as Rebecca cried, "We must tell the ruler." One said as his parents followed. In the ruler's palace, hidden underground, the Marines presented the child. "Sir, this child has the highest IQ of any organism in the world." "How much?" the ruler asked in shock. "It was about 875 before the machines exploded," he said. "This child must be disposed of," the ruler said, ordering a rocket pod by keypad access in his throne room. The rocket was soon deployed, and Samuel's parents were held back with horror on their faces. "This child will either die or be found," he said quietly, and placed him inside. Samuel cried as it lifted off and exited the atmosphere. Little Samuel Chase looked out a port window in the rocket and saw two sleek purple ships shoot out from nowhere and disappear just as quickly. He would never forget those ships. "What is the status of the superstation?" an officer asked Admiral Franz Denari on the Imperial Star Destroyer Temptation. "Going as according to plan," he said, looking outside as a missile-like object appeared on screen. The Emperor was on the ship at this time and saw the same object. "Bring me that rocket," he said. "Right away, Emperor," Denari said as the two TIE fighters went out and collected the rocket. They brought it back, and the Emperor opened the compartment and pulled out Samuel. He handed him off to Denari and said, "Take good care of him. I sense the Force in him." "Yes, my Emperor," Denari said. Okay, so that's the first chapter. If you do not want to be spoiled about what happens in this story, and if you want to read it for yourselves, I suggest you stop watching this review now and just proceed to read by clicking on the link below in the description. Okay, I'm assuming if you're still watching this, you want to know exactly what happens in this fanfic. Well, Samuel Chase grows up to be a Dark Jedi, let's put it that way. He changes his name to General Meldor, which is actually the author's screen name or pen name for fanfiction.net. And he decides, after taking over the Empire, that he wants to destroy all the humans on planet Earth. Eventually, he meets up with the Covenant and teams up with them. I think he ends up killing the Master Chief in the story. And pretty much in the story, he succeeds in destroying most of the humans on planet Earth and starts a perfect human race. And I believe the last chapter of this story is pretty much it's like the epilogue, and it's about like his son, and Samuel Chase ends up dying at some point in the story. So yeah, it's an interesting fanfic, but I didn't really like it. Just to be honest with you, I just didn't really like it. I mean, the main character is an original character, for starters. I mean, I wouldn't really say he's like, no, you know what, I guess you could kind of say he's a Gary Stu in a sense, because he's wicked intelligent, he's undefeatable, pretty much. I mean, he's not, like, annoying, though, but I guess you can say he's kind of a Gary Stu. And I didn't really like how, he succeeded in his plan to destroy most of the humans, and frankly, I didn't understand why he wanted to destroy all the humans. Was he mad that they shipped him off when he was a baby off in outer space? Was he mad at his parents and stuff? I mean, it probably would have made more sense if he wanted to get back at the government for doing what they did to him. But, I don't know, I mean, the story, it was an interesting read, and, it had good spelling and grammar and stuff, but overall, I just didn't really like it. And yes, it kind of crossed over with Halo, but I would say just barely. I mean, you don't really have much interaction with the other Halo characters and stuff. And they kill off the Master Chief, they kill Cortana, and for me, it's like, no. I think it would have been more interesting if there was like a showdown or something between, you know, the Master Chief and the Samuel Chase guy. I mean, some of you guys might like the fanfic, but I personally didn't really like it. Well, I'm the FanFic Critic. I read it, you listen. I'm gonna play Halo.